Here on the Colour of Country Life FlowFM, we're speaking with the Deputy Premier of South Australia, Dan Van Holst Pellekaan. Great to have you with us again.
Yeah, thanks, Ricky. Lovely to be on Flow with you too. Thank you.
Now, we have had this announcement from the ACCC yesterday, their latest report on the energy prices for consumers showing that they continue to come down. The federal government's had a bit to say about their big stick legislation and the like. Is there any credit the state government can take for bringing power prices down for South Australians?
Oh, look, I know all state governments are working hard on this, as they should, but I don't think it's a stretch to say that since we've come into government, we've made a really big difference. In the last 2 years of the former Labor government, annual household electricity prices went up $477. Since we've come to government, independently assessed, they've come down $303, and we know that there's another $100 of savings still to come on top of that, associated with the interconnector. We certainly have not stopped in terms of our work and our effort and our intention to keep pushing electricity prices down for South Australians.
And is it the proposition of the government that renewable energy, adding that to the system, has driven prices down?
Look, it's not renewable energy driving prices down. Renewable energy has a very, very high upfront capital cost, but then a very, very low ongoing operating cost because you're not paying for fuel. But the real difference is actually making renewable energy reliable energy. It's all very easy to say, well, if you build a wind farm and you meet your capital cost, then the electricity's essentially free after that. And look, you could look at it one way and say, well, that's true. But the reality is that when it's not windy, you need electricity. When it's not sunny, you need electricity. So our policies with regard to household batteries and grid-scale storage and voluntary demand management and supply integration all come together to make renewable energy reliable energy. And when you have blackouts or insufficient supply of electricity because it's not reliable, then the cost skyrockets. And what we're doing is making sure that renewable energy in a sensible way with ongoing use of gas generators, less and less, but they still play an important part. Getting that mix right is what's pushing down the cost of electricity, not just any one component on its own.
Yeah, speaking of gas generation, I think you made a comment a short while ago about Torrens Island and AGL, this new battery that the government's... I think your comments were you fast-tracked some support to get this battery up at AGL's plant. Is that because they had a grizzle about their gas plant not being able to run all the time because of the wind energy in the system?
Oh, no, nothing to do with that. In fact, I've got to say, it's easy for people to bag industry or bag retailers if they want to, but this is a company that has built a brand new gas generator, a fast, smart, modern gas generator that can enter and leave the market between renewable energy opportunities. So really, really important. Instead of a gas generator that's just running all the time, when it's not windy and not sunny, not enough electricity around, it can just quickly, within minutes, jump into the market. When the renewables start up again, it can quickly exit the market. They're now also building what will be the largest grid-scale battery in the nation, 250 megawatts. That will support grid stability through voltage control and frequency control. So, all these responsible companies are doing everything that they can to participate in the transition.
What was the role the government took in fast tracking that coming on stream? Was it funding or regulatory?
Yeah, with regard to what you commented on about helping them, it was a regulatory process. It was actually a planning process because we recognise that not only do we want to help the company build their battery so that they can earn a return on their investment for their shareholders, but we actually need this kind of technology. Coming back to what I said before, so much of what we're doing is about making renewable electricity reliable electricity. We need these grid-scale batteries in the market, so we help them fast-track their planning approval. When we came to government, there was one grid-scale battery at Hornsdale. We've since then, with industry, helped make it 50% bigger. There are now 3 others in the market, and this new one that's just about to start, a 4th. So 5 grid-scale batteries now in South Australia. Really important for reducing the cost of electricity.
Well, when we talked previously about the farmers' need for fertiliser, and there's these regulatory approvals that need to be gone through there's no possibility of a fast-tracking on that front, where the battery could be fast-tracked, but what can we do to help that project at Leigh Creek get off the ground faster?
Well, there's a few things there. One is that, yes, we do need urea for fertiliser. There's no doubt there's a nationwide shortage, in fact, probably a worldwide shortage of that, and we're doing everything we can in partnership with the federal government to see what other import opportunities we have in the short term, just to try and help us get through that. With regard to the proposal up at Leigh Creek to produce urea, there's a lot of strong attraction about that in a medium to longer term way of supplying that market, and wouldn't it be good to be able to supply it domestically rather than rely on imports? That would be fantastic. The difference there, though, is that there's a lot of environmental approvals, a lot of heritage approvals, and a lot of other things that the company must address before we can actually allow them to start that mining and production facility, as opposed to the company building the big battery. They've already got the site. It's already an industrial place. They're just building a big grid-scale battery on their site. They've demolished some fuel tanks. They've got the spot. It's a much, much simpler process. So our Department for Energy and Mining is doing everything it can to help with the Leigh Creek proposal. We are continually waiting for information from that company. We're working with them as well as we possibly can. We'd love to see, any of the projects that are proposed get up. We're certainly not dragging the chain at all.
On the energy front, just a couple of things before we finish. The federal government's roadmap on the energy future talks about small modular reactors, the nuclear side of the equation still being an open possibility. The government's pretty keen on green hydrogen here in South Australia. Is there a prospect that nuclear could be part of the roadmap from the state government's point of view?
Yeah, Ricky, I don't see those as mutually exclusive. We're very focused on hydrogen as a fuel and as an export commodity and as a way of helping to manage our electricity grid. But I don't think that small modular reactors are ruled out because of that. We want as much renewable energy as possible, but it has to be affordable and reliable. Nuclear may be able to help with that as well. Kevin Scarce, the former governor, when he did his nuclear fuel cycle inquiry, he actually said that the traditional style of very large nuclear power stations that we see in Asia, North America, Europe, etc., are not right for South Australia. And that wasn't a philosophical thing about is nuclear right or not. He was just saying, look, the scale of those things isn't right for the South Australian market. Plus, they would cost $10 to $15 billion to build, and they'd be ready in 10 to 15 years. And so, for a few reasons, not quite right for us. Small modular reactors, though, and they're not actually available yet, but small modular reactors could be outstanding for South Australia. And one of the reasons is because they don't require water for cooling. And we haven't got a lot of water in South Australia. It'd have to be on the coastline. I don't know that there'd be many communities willing to host a nuclear power station. Lots of people would like to have one so long as it was somewhere else. But the small modular reactors don't need water for cooling. So they might be absolutely outstanding for remote mine sites, for example, in outback South Australia, with the capacity to supply surplus electricity back towards the city and reverse the trend that we've typically got of generators in the metro areas pushing electricity out to the country. Let's do the opposite, or let's consider doing the opposite. So I don't know if they're going to be the right solution or not, but I'm wide open to having a look at it.
Well, we'll have to have a chat with your federal colleagues about the ban on that at a federal level before we can make any movement and investment attraction on that front.
Yeah, of course.
Minister, before we go, as the member for Stuart as well, we'd like to I'll give you the opportunity to share a Christmas message with the voters of Stuart and indeed the broader South Australian community.
Yeah, look, thank you, Ricky. I mean, Christmas is always a really important time, not only for families and communities to come together, but I encourage people to think of, the real reason that we have Christmas and the importance of community and understanding and worship and all of the things that come together. Not just a fun party time for Christmas, but this year's more challenging than most. Last year was challenging as well. I just hope that all of the people of Stuart and broader South Australia can come together with their family and friends, can do so in a reverent way with regard to the original reason for Christmas, but in a safe, fun, happy, relaxing way. Let's just get together with family and friends and enjoy the blessings that we're so fortunate to have in country South Australia, even during times of COVID. We live in the best place in the world, and the benefits and the blessings that we enjoy far, far, far outweigh the challenges that we're facing at the moment.
Thanks very much for that, Deputy Premier, also member for Stuart, Dan van Holst Pellekaan. Thanks for joining us today on Flow, and have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you too, Ricky, and to all of your Flow listeners all around South Australia and beyond, Merry Christmas.